And as part of International Women's Day, Olympia has managed to get some of the amazing women to very kindly come do some talks today. And this afternoon we've got David Perkins I'd like to introduce you to here, and I'll give you a quick intro. So welcome on behalf of the Guernsey Museum and the Guernsey Arts Commission to the fourth talk today on International Women's Day. And we are celebrating amazing women. Dame Mary is an optometrist. She's built up her solid business in the UK and then moved to Guernsey in 1980. Mary continues to work full time in Guernsey and she supports many local charities, some of which you will be familiar with. And she champions the causes of good ophthalmic health around the world as well. And this is charities local to her, very local to Guernsey. And she's also a patron of the Every Woman charity as well. So I'll introduce Dame Mary Perkins.
I understand you're being given a piece of paper, or pencil rather, and you're meant to be writing on that. Any questions afterwards? Because you think it's easier to think what's going on rather than wait until the end. So I hope you've got lots of questions. Great. Now I was asked to speak today on my authentic self. Wasn't quite sure what that meant, but thinking about it, I thought it was probably easier to do a sort of collection of questions and answers, because it's quite difficult to talk about yourself, to be honest. It's not something I'm used to doing. So let's have a look at some of the questions I pondered on. One of them, the first one that you might be interested in, is you heard that I came here in 1980. So how did I come to be in Guernsey? Because I'm a Bristolian. I'm not a Guernsey person. And how did I come to be a founder of the Specsavers Optical Group, which is the largest global privately owned group in optics? I say privately, there's some of the stock exchange and they're a little bit bigger. I was born in World War II, so relatively ancient, when you are here, in the centre of Bristol, and was brought up on a large council estate, right up until the time till I left home. Now, my father retired in 1966, and for some strange reason or other, he decided to move to Guernsey. Perhaps it was a little bit easier in those days. So my parents and a much younger brother moved from Bristol to Guernsey, and that was in 1966. And they left me behind in the UK because I'd just finished ophthalmic optics visual sciences at Cardiff University. And I'd done my pre-registered year that all optometrists do before you can go on the General Optical Council's list, and then you can really start to work. So they left me behind. Now, I got married 3 months after they left for Guernsey to Dirk, who's my husband, obviously, who's also an optometrist, who I met in the first week of studying at university in 1962. I was aged 18 as he was, so don't groan, girls. I'm not asking you to get married. People got married much earlier on in those days, to be honest. So anyway, that's when we first met, 1962, aged 18. Now we both set up an independent private optical practice in Bristol. Okay, as soon as we qualified and got on the General Optical Council list. So I've never actually worked for anyone. I'll come to that in a moment. And I'm not going to go through all the history of everything that happened in those intervening years, but I'm going to skip forward to 1980. That's when we moved to Guernsey. We had 23 outlets, 23 opticians in the southwest, and they were called Bebbington and Perkins. Doesn't exactly trip off the tongue. I know you could spell Bebbington right anyway, but you had to use your own names above a shop in those days. And we sold those to a very big company, and I sort of moved to Guernsey and we moved in with my parents while we considered what next to do. Because one thing is, when you sell a business and you sold it to someone, the contract they make you sign is that you're not going to work against them for at least 3 years anyway. So I thought, what are we going to do? So we just moved in with my parents to here in Guernsey to decide what to do. But by accident, I ended up in Guernsey. Now, our 3 children, we left at their schools in Bristol, and they went as boarders, rather than upset their education to start with. But to be honest, we very soon realised how good the schools and colleges were. So we brought them to Guernsey, said, no, we're not going to stay in Bristol anymore. And we bought a house. So I think my parents were glad to see the back of me then. And we're still in that same house, the old market house, because as you know, when you move into Guernsey, you can't buy a local house. And we're still there 38 years later. So there we are. Now, my brother, who was very much younger than me, went to boys' grammar. That was in the days when you had separate girls' grammar and boys' grammar, which now they're together. So he went to boys' grammar schools, but as I say, he was younger than me. So that's how I ended up in Guernsey, and I'm still here. I obviously decided it was a great place. I knew it from visiting my parents and being on holiday here, but until you live somewhere, you know what it's really like. So, Specsavers, why did we start again? Remember I said we sold the business. I'm quite blunt, didn't have to work. Sold it for quite a good sum. Well, probably did have to work after a while, but we could have rested for a bit. Well, we got tempted to go back into optics, and the reason for that, and this is a bit of history, was due to Margaret Thatcher when she was Prime Minister. So any of you who've been doing any politics at college, you will have surely done about Margaret Thatcher. She's like Marmite. You either loved her or you hated her. I have to say I loved her because she was changing all the laws around the different professions. So she was changing laws around not just opticians, but dentists, lawyers, accountants, because they were a little bit secretive and a bit closed shop. And she said, no, you're going to open up, you're going to tell people what you do, you're going to tell them what you charge, I want you to advertise, etc., etc., because there was no advertising for all those professions at that time. And you can use generic names, hence Specsavers. We didn't have to be Devonton Perkins anymore, rather than our names above the door. So we started again. That was, I've been here in 1980, that was in 1984. Now you're all far too young to remember, most of you are far too young to remember, the first Specsavers to open was in February 1984, and that was in Trinity Square. So there's a lot of water under the bridge since then. Another question, what was it like being a female in a male's field? Doesn't apply now, but back in 1962, when I went on the General Optical Council register, opticians were mainly men. There were 3 of us females in my year at uni, and dozens of men, but that's another thing. To be honest, I never paid any notice or any thought to the male-female situation at that time. Maybe it's because I was brought up in a household of males, a brother, yes, albeit younger than myself, but also 3 male orphaned cousins, all about my age group. And I had a father who basically expected me to do anything I wanted, or anything he wanted, I think, anything I wanted. So he didn't say, oh, you're a girl, you've got to go and do this or that. He expected me to do science at school. I was lucky, it was a mixed school, a very minor grammar school in Bristol. Though at that time, there were a lot of grammar schools, it was quite a minor one, really. And again, there were only 2 females in my mixed school that were doing A-level sciences. And it was quite a big school. It still is. It exists, but it's not a grammar school anymore. I did A-level physics. I also did separate A-level maths, pure maths, and applied maths. And you know, there just wasn't the pressure that I think you all have on exams and getting qualifications nowadays. And the peer pressure, we certainly didn't have that. And the pressure, well, there was no social media, so we didn't have those sort of pressures. I cannot honestly remember being ever worried by anything. And now I've got grandchildren, I can hear about the worries and going into schools, well, I was a school governor, and hearing about some of the things that people are worried, young people are worried about. I have to say, I was extremely lucky, and this is where it gets very political, I was extremely lucky to pass the 11 plus in 1955. I lived, as I said, on a large council estate in Bristol, and I could never have gone to university without the schooling that I had. And I'm always very thankful to those teachers. Many of them are not with us anymore, I'm afraid, but I do go to school reunions and catch up with people who were in a similar position to myself. So I'm always very thankful. Thankful for the father I had, who just treated me, you know, go on and do it, and yeah, you're going to do science and all the rest of it, and also to my teachers at the school I was at. Did I meet any barriers or walls due to being a female? Well, no. Don't forget, I left university and immediately started a business on my own with my husband. I have to say, I'll come on to that again in a minute. So I was my own boss, so I probably didn't have any barriers as such. I had a lot of funny comments from people because I don't know how many of you have had your, I can see you wear glasses, you've had your eyes tested, you know that people look into your eye and they get very close. I had a lot of funny comments from men saying, ooh, you know, all this sort of business getting close to them. But you just ignore things like that. So I advise any girls, if you've got any men making silly comments, just give them a hard look and tell them to grow up and forget about it. So I didn't get any problems, but I did ask females who were looking around at that time who were employed to see whether they had any problems. And they didn't, as far as they could tell me. And also, which is very important in this day and age, their salaries were equal to the males. So I suppose it's a little bit like doctors and dentists, they probably have the same sort of salaries. And I have to say, nowadays, there's far more females qualifying in optics than males, and it's the same in pharmacy, and this is globally. Many more females, so you're looking at 60-40 split here. And I have to say, their salaries are equal on the profession side. I'm just adding in here to the girls. I must say I was quite surprised to see how many men here today. So no, well done. It's quite a comfy seat to sit on for the afternoon. Anyway, I just add in here. I kept my maiden name, girls, Ebbington. I moved to Guernsey in 1980 when I changed it then. I have driving license, everything. Well, it was kept in my maiden name. I think you see more of that nowadays, but it was unusual, and I didn't see any point in changing my name at the time. And the other thing that you might like to, I'll add in here, it's a bit sort of female digging really here. I had 3 children. I had 10 days off with each of those children. You went into a nursing home in those days. There was no maternity leave. And remember, I had my own business. If I didn't work, I didn't get any money, basically. I couldn't get somebody in to take over the job I was doing. I like to think maybe I should have relied on my husband's earnings, because he was working, he was an optometrist, but it actually never crossed my mind at the time. It has to be said, I did have a friend's daughter who lived in and looked after those children, by the way, but it never occurred to me to take any more time off. I don't expect females working for me now to do that, but I just thought I'd throw that in. When people tell me that they've had a year out and then they don't want to leave their children at home, I never even thought about it, and I can assure you, all my 3 children now grown up, living in Guernsey, quite well balanced. They've got, if you ever get hold of one of them, they can tell you a few funny stories, which I'm not going to go into today anyway. So how did I run a business raw out of university? Did I have business knowledge? Well, the short answer is no. What you have 2021 and all you've done is your professional exams, there's no business side to it then, so no. I just did it with my husband, and quite honestly, used common sense. Both my husband and I did do some night school stuff on accounts and bookkeeping, thought we better get that bit straight, apart from anything else. But apart from that, we really did learn as we went along. It's much more complicated nowadays. I sit in different sort of forums in the UK, helping people, women in particular, start off in business. It is a lot more complicated. We've got employment law, we never had health and safety, data protection now. I'm sure you have touched on that even at college, about the new data protection laws that are coming in this April, and what we have to do is there's so much stuff goes on now. And although we employed about 100 people in our opticians before Specsavers, they were treated as friends, just as ourselves. We had newsletters, parties. I met them regularly and their families, and we remembered birthdays, celebrated new babies, supported in times of sorrow. Somebody might die, and we'd be there for them. And that, quite frankly, is exactly what I do now. And I expect good companies, that's what they do. The 100, of course, now is well over 40,000. I only get to know those people in Guernsey, or probably quite a few of them in our other 2 UK support offices. But we do have birthdays, birthday cards and babies and weddings and all sorts of things. But I can't do that for 14,000 people, I'm afraid. Only if something really special happens, and then that's a bit different. So what secret tips can I tell you? Well, I say always be yourself. Treat others as you would wish to be treated yourself. And that's now the Specsavers value globally. And everybody knows that. I've always enjoyed the story Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. When I was younger, read it several times, with the character Mrs. Do As You Would Be Done By. Now, bring us up to modern age, nobody else seemed to have read that book. So I had to say, well, it's not this, I wanted to say Mrs. Do As You Would Be Done By, but as no one had heard of the book, that's where I treat others as you wish to be treated yourself, so it changed. And now we follow that in our company with what we're passionate about. And there's several headings about what we're passionate about. People being one of the people that work for us in our communities. I'm not going to go through all that now. In fact, I now have a coat of arms, which I showed Olympia, which I would have had that in about 2007, 2008. It's quite a work of art. It's all hand printed, hand painted on parchment. I brought it in to show Olympia today. But the motto I chose to go on that coat of arms was work with passion. And I pass that on to all of you, whether male or female. Whatever you do in life, do it with passion, because it's fun. I find life fun. And you can call in this as well. Work hard, play hard. I've always done this, but I do have to own up about not always having what's spoken often nowadays, about having that work-life balance. There's a lot written about that, and that goes for males or females. I guess it varies with what you do for work, because work is my hobby. So when people say, oh, how do you have work-life balance? I think, well, I probably don't, but it's my hobby as well. However, I do sing in a choir. Cathedral choir, no, never mind. Liberation's the next one, Liberation Day, St. James. I exercise, should do more, but a lot of time to myself and all that sort of things. I enjoy eating out. That's Guernsey for you, plenty of places to go. As I say, play hard, work hard. I like parties. I see the grandchildren. Yeah, there's 7 of them, but 2 are away at university and the others are soon be off as well, so don't see so much of them nowadays. Lots of interesting charity work that I can do, and I love I meet amazing people through that charity work, both here and in the UK. So a lot of fun stuff I do in the UK, and I like having holidays. Next one's coming up, end of March, off to the Gold Coast with the Guernsey Commonwealth team. I can't wait. So that's my main holiday this year. And what better could that be? A bit of sunshine after the freezing weather we've had here. And I have to say, I go to a health clinic once a year in Austria, where they take you and they lock you up and clean you out, and I think all those glasses of wine I've been having, all those meals out. They get rid of all that and set me on the next stage for the following year, the next year coming up. So when you get older, you've got to do that. Don't worry about it when you're your age. You've got to reinvent yourself and get your health back, really. So, for you, hard work, long hours, I wonder. Firstly, I have to say, choose companies that offer further training and development. You'll get bored otherwise, you'll be stuck in a rut. Ask if there's a career ladder. You really don't want to be stuck in doing the same thing day in, day out, year after year. Join in with company plans. Offer constructive comments in meetings. So don't have a good old moan. Easy to have a moan. I have a moan sometimes. Participate in work things and maybe in the community. We're very lucky here in Guernsey that a lot of companies do a lot of work in the community. So join in, that's really, really good for you, believe it or not. Now you may feel that you're not being stretched because you know what you're capable about, or you're not being encouraged or even noticed at work. But you should always make sure that you're with a company that give you appraisals, that you can sit down and talk about what your aims are and where you want to go, and to be able to go there, what you need to do. And hopefully you have good line managers. Because I'm afraid quite often people get promoted into managerial positions as line managers without proper training. And this happens quite a lot in Guernsey, to be honest. It's a shortage of people, you see, so people get promoted into a position maybe they shouldn't be in, but I hope you don't find that out. And don't worry if you don't have the dream job that you've always wanted. It can be a matter of stepping stones, but do have that goal in mind of what you want to end up doing, rather than drifting from job to job, and basically you just get unhappy by doing that. So try not to do that. Now finally, I'm very aware of the need for flexible working. That goes for males as well as females, flexible working. Probably, if I'm bluntly honest, it applies to us females a little bit more because of having children and being carers, but it does apply to men as well, however hard we try for this equality. And thankfully, this is becoming easier for all companies to do. On optics, my profession is really very good for flexible hours and flexible working for people. It's just how it is. Might be more difficult if you're, I don't know, working in a bank or something. Can't be too flexible. As employers, we're learning to adapt to different working patterns. For example, let me tell you about optometrists, opticians. Those that are qualifying now, so they're all your sort of age, well, early 20s, they don't want 5 days a week, 9 to 5. It's a different pattern altogether. They may want 4 days working, or they may say to me, I'll see 100 patients, 100 customers, and if that takes me 3 days, then I'll do the 3 days, but I'm doing a number thing. Or some of them may say, no, I won't work 6 days. No, I'll work 7 days. I'll work evenings for 6 months. And then they'll take a year out, 6 months out travelling. There's so many combinations, so they're not fixed in a way. I think you'll find as you get into work, there's a lot more of this flexibility and not the normal 9 to 5. Don't forget, if you're going to work in a shop, it is 9 to 5. You can't be too flexible there and take time out. You will find that employers will try and fit in with this different working pattern wherever possible. But remember, they've got to think about all their employees and the ongoing success of the company as a whole. And I can only quote from myself, but sometimes further postgraduate training can cost thousands. And it can be disconcerting to find that your trained, highly trained employee decides to up sticks and go off travelling. The commitment to return, of course, can help, but that means finding a replacement. It's not always easy. So that's my bit of opinion. So we don't have as many mentors, but that's my one. I think the thing to do is always have an open discussion with your employer on these things. We take several hundred students, albeit optical ones, every year and support their advancement, particularly as we become more and more medical, which is supporting the National Health UK hospitals. We don't have this problem here in Guernsey. We need to support them on the medicalisation and people having things done in their community rather than having to go to a hospital. And in March, that's this month, in fact, another week's time, we celebrate our 1,000th apprentice under the UK government scheme for apprentices. We've supported them and trained them. We've celebrated their successes. It's quite sort of regulated. And some of them have even decided, they've been with us 3 years as apprentices, have decided to go to university that they haven't thought of doing when they left school. And we have bursaries for them to do that. That's in the UK. And for a lot of them, it's a case of earning as they learn. Anyway, they work it, but they can learn at the same time online stuff and get qualifications that way. So that's good. Has this covered my authentic self? Probably not, but it's the best I can do. So I'm happy to take any questions if there's time. I'm a very open person, quite straightforward, quite normal. As I said before, you should always be yourself and don't pretend to be something that you're not. So any question, you'll hear a straightforward, truthful answer from me. So thanks a lot. Is it those time for questions, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions, you're very welcome. So go ahead.
Right, we've got one hand up here.
I've got two-ish. Could you show us your coat of arms, and also how did you get one?
That's going to take us some time. Really well done. Yeah.
Sure, if you don't mind.
When you get recognised by the Queen for something, and I was very honoured to have that done in 2007, to be made a dame, it's the equivalent of like a man being a sir. Except when you must have seen it on TV, when a man goes down on the sword, they don't do that to me, you just stand there and shake a hand. I really wanted to have a sword, but anyway, you can have a coat of arms, and you go to this place in London, College of Arms, and they will design one for yourself. So you have to tell them about your history, what you want it to be. I should have had it framed. It's been in a cupboard since 2007. Sorry about that. And it's on parchment. It's all hand done, beautifully done. And they've given my husband one. So we're really joking about it today because he's Welsh and he played rugby. He loves rugby. So he's got a lion holding up a rugby ball. I didn't consult him. And work with passion, and then under his it's the same, but it's in Welsh. Work with passion. What else? Oh, my lions are holding cotton. You know, like cotton plants. Yeah. Because my father, when he left school at age 13, whatever age they left that, and they say, which is a cotton mill, Lancashire. So I'm always very thankful to my father for I'm here. Number one, he moved to Guernsey. I didn't even know where Guernsey was. And number two, he made me do science at school. Therefore, I was able to go and do the science degree, all the rest of it. So I'm always very thankful to him. So I thought, well, I'll have my lines holding up the cotton and stuff. So that's going back a little bit in ancient history, which you wouldn't do at school in history nowadays, actually. The industrial revolution with the cotton mills and the big machines, people coming off the land, working where his parents on the land, working into the industrial towns of Lancashire, and then the cotton industry died down and they brought in cotton from India and all the rest of it. It was fun at school. So so that's that, and then there's a lot of writing and stuff. So yeah, very clever. Actually, nothing to do with today, but did you see the when I came in the 1066 conquest of Normandy? When I was at the college, I did some family trees, like we all do as we get older, we know where we've come from. And I was doing my mother's, and I went back so far, and then I couldn't go any further. I went back to about 1500, 1400 and something. When I was with this man in the College of Arms, they've got a lot of old documents there and old family tree things. And I was explaining this to him and what her name was, and it had French origins. And he very kindly, over a few weeks or months actually, did some research for me to find that her ancestors came over with William the Conqueror, and the ancestor was the equivalent of the Chancellor to William of Normandy. And so I've got all that family tree that they very, very kindly traced back from me. Unfortunately, my mother was not allowed to be able to tell her that, but yeah, I thought that was a bit creepy that I've come to Guernsey and there's Normandy, and so they were very, very, very helpful there. A lot of old documents, and a lot of research goes on there. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for that question. That took up a lot of time. Thank you.
Well, it's really... Sorry, hi. Quick question. What would you have done if you hadn't have studied optometry?
That's a good question, actually, because that's a really good question. Do you know what I would have been? A librarian. I loved reading, playing, or not TV or anything, but I'd always have my books there and pretend to be a librarian. Either that or a school teacher at a library. I'd love to be a librarian. And it's a bit of a family joke that they always think that I'm doing. And I'm not a natural scientist, I'll have you say. It was a struggle to get the. Well, I can be truthful here again. I told you I wasn't honest. You have to get a certain. We have marks in our A-level days. You know, you've got grades now, A's, B's, and C's, whatever. We have marks, and I didn't have a high enough mark in my A-level physics. So Cardiff University said, okay, well, you haven't got the mark, you passed, but you haven't got the high mark. You can come in, but in your first year, you have to redo your do my study at university. You have to do your A-level physics again and get a higher mark, or else we're going to chuck you out at the end of the first year. So I went to a technical college in the evenings in Cardiff, Llandaff Tech, to do my A-level physics again, and luckily got a mark that they. I often wonder whether they would have chucked me out, after a year, but they probably would. So I was able to stay. So yeah, I'm not a natural scientist. I worked with English and history, taught history.
Do you still read a lot?
Yes.
Just not physics.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't help anybody because their physics over the Yes, but yes. Thank you. Thank you. That was a nice question. Thank you. Oh, these are easy ones. I do inductions for Specsavers staff in the UK. Not all of them. The ones I can get to, probably once a month. I go to Manchester and then let's stay on the airport in the hotel and do an induction. And a lot of those questions, so that takes a whole morning. And some of them are very personal. You'd be surprised. Yeah, sorry.
You talked about apprenticeship schemes, which are now well back in action. Did you get affected by when they were pulled over in the various training situations?
No, we had it. You were quite right. It was like it was different when it started, wasn't it? We just took apprentices on. No, because at the time I thought, oh my goodness, this is because there's an apprentice tax, as you know, that you would have to pay in the UK. But for that, there's quite a structure and we've got a huge department now in one of our offices in the UK in Nottingham, which just deal with these apprentices, because we've got over 800 stores in the UK, and there's probably 2 apprentices in every store. There's a lot of them. Obviously, and then when they've done that, it's worked quite well, because the new system, of course, is not. It gets complicated. It's yes for the apprentices, but you can also use the government grants in exchange for the tax you pay to do training, new training, with somebody who's already working there. And go forward. So it took a bit of jiggling, and once we realised what it was really all about, it's proved very, very successful. And we've now got quite a large number of people that are involved in that to make sure that it runs smoothly and properly. It's very well. But I like to see the people coming in straight from school or unemployed even. And some of the stories that have happened with those people are really good. And we've made quite a few videos of people saying what they've done and how good it was. So, yeah, it's to see them go on further. I think there's 3 now who've actually decided. Obviously, they're in their late mid-20s now. I've gone to university and we've got bursaries, so we've decided to become opticians. So it started like on the shop floor, so to speak, and then gone on. So it's really heartening, actually. Yeah, it's great.
Would you say it was a good career specifically for women?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. Let's forget about Guernsey for a moment. We're in our little bubble here. But if you think in the UK, shops are open 7 days a week, and quite often late. If you're in a shopping centre, it can be until 9 o'clock at night. So those are the hours you're looking at. So you can, because it's open night, you need a lot of stuff, but you can jiggle around and you say, no, I need to leave at 3. I've got to work from 10 till 3 because of children or whatever. It might be elderly parents, whatever it might be. Or we get quite a few. I'm thinking of optometrists in particular, but it can be for others as well. Where they've got a family, but they only want to work weekends when their husband's going to look after the family or whatever. There's all sorts of movements there, but it really is this clean. It's quite nice, not pulling teeth, are you? It's not for you. So it's a caring profession. A lot more medical side to it now than there was when I started. All optometrists, by the way, have to train, it's a bit like accountancy as well. You get your CET points through the year, so it's the same type of training you have to do and work on the sharp end, so to speak, put your case studies in order to stay registered. So I've had to keep up, but I must admit the young people coming out now are very, I want to say doctors, eye doctors. I think is a way of looking at it in the UK. So much more than when I qualified, really, to be honest. It's great for them. Oh, right.
What's your number one tip for looking after your sight and your eyes?
Yes, that would be good, wouldn't it? Well, basically, if you think about eyes, they are in their, all the little muscles that adjust the lens of the eye to focus. They're in their relaxed state, looking towards infinity. So great for your eyes at sea, but looking towards infinity. I'm talking just no eye. So if you're stuck here, like we all are, computers, iPhones, you name it, iPads, or whatever, for long lengths of time, those muscles are pulling on the lens to focus the lens on what you're looking at. And yeah, they become tired, but they also become used to doing that. So when you look, not always, this is very simplistic by the way, when you look up, then you can't see in the distance, but you'll find here, you'll get a huge increase in myopia, which is short-sightedness in young people nowadays, an enormous percent increase globally, so because of the way that we're using our eyes. It shows up small prescriptions by having to look at detail close up, so that a lot of people may be wearing glasses with a smaller prescription that's for eye strain rather than they can see, but the eyes get tired. So really, you just need to break away from the screens. Sorry, I was sick of people saying that, but there is a big increase in myopia and short-sightedness. That's generally, there's lots of other reasons for being short-sighted, which is the shape of your eye. Your eye might be fractionally too long in its length, it can be a genetic thing. There's all sorts of reasons, but I think you're going to look after your eyes, just give them a bit of a break now and again from the screens more than anything. So you must have read how they're sending children outside to play in the daylight, thinking that this is going to help. Yeah, because they're off their screens, it's out and they're looking into the distance, so obviously it's going to make a difference. But I think most of the things that we're finding now in opticians' shops, let's call them shops, because they do sell glasses, and you get the eyes of it's the aging population. We're all living longer and getting older, so you've got things like the cataracts, your glaucoma, age macular degeneration, we're getting overweight, we're eating too much sugar, we're getting diabetic. All of those are big things that will affect the eyes, particularly, so we're getting older, you can't do anything about that. So we just have to make sure that the research helps, and when we get these things spotted early, the earlier you can get them spotted by having your eyes examined with the different MRI scans that you can have on the eye. The earlier these things are spotted, the better. Put them right. I won't go into all the details of what it was like years ago, but anyway, sorry.
Would you class this as a charity event?
Sorry?
Would you class this as a charity event?
No, I never even thought of that. No, not particularly. No, I got roped in for this. It's International Women's Day. Which women have we got here in Guernsey? Right.
Touch on what you were saying before. If you spot that somebody is going to get a disease, you rub it in their eyes. Do you have any general policy about that? I mean, I sometimes say to my optician, if I can do anything about it, please let me know.
Yeah.
If I can't do anything about it, it's just any general.
Yeah. No, anything is spotted, it's an immediate referral to here it would be to your doctor, and then you go to the ophthalmologist. In the UK, and again, it's very postcode orientated, like you read about all these things. We do have eye clinics. They don't go under the name Specsavers, they go under the name of New Medica, where we're in partnership with ophthalmologists, and we can refer straight into those ophthalmologists, still under the health service, rather than somebody waiting, going to the doctor and waiting maybe 6 months for hospital appointments and all things that, you know, driving miles in the UK, we're talking about for a hospital. So we can, where we have new medical clinics in partnership with the ophthalmologist, we can refer straight into them on the health service in their community. It might be in the same town, but so we just started on that. So we have about 10 of those last year, and all the time it's getting, so, oh yes, you wouldn't hesitate. There's different machines that you will go on. There will be some for the pressure of your eye, there will be some with like a slit lamp that you can just look, and then there's like an MRI scan of the eyes. I think the Guernsey store will probably having one shortly, but so those around different shops all over the country. So it's a hospital quality, same sort of machines you would have in hospital, but so how you go to the hospital, and that will pick up, it's like an MRI scan, will pick up all sorts of things. Yeah. And then it means you can get these things treated very quickly and easily. Yeah, no, they're not yes, anything. I'm thinking, again, you won't see much of that here, but people with tumours, you can, brain tumours, you can spot this, and there's many life-saving case studies with people's lives are saved with spotting tumours in children and adults, in fact. Right.
Sorry. Have you ever helped anybody with like retinal blastoma or whatever it's called? The cancer you get in your eyes?
Yeah. There are certain, as you realise, probably certain eye diseases that you can spot, but you can't always give them back the vision that they haven't got, so to speak. So there's an endless number of those type of visual defects, really. I personally haven't. I can. It's all right, they're all above the age of 16, I can tell them these things. Nowadays, when you're a student, you go and do hospital work as well, so you see lots of things. Now, they used to do that in 1963, 64. But to me, I was in Cardiff, and this was the days when Cardiff was a bit rough. We had Tiger Bay, and it's all beautiful apartments now, and expensive shops and everything. Anyway, we used to go to the Salvation Army hostel. And they used to wheel in these old sailors for us to have a look at their eyes and various things like that. So it's the only time in my life I have actually seen what would be called a syphilitic lesion in the back of the eye. And someone would say I had syphilis and it affected his eyes. I've never ever seen that in private practice, but I'm always quite amused about that. You'll see one picture in a textbook somewhere, but I've actually seen one on this somewhere. So some of our, they don't do that nowadays, obviously, wheeling old sailors from a hospital. It's interesting actually speaking to them. It's different life altogether. Different life altogether. Yeah.
So we've got one last question.
I think I've heard that it's possible to do retinal transplants these days. Is that right?
I've not heard of one, no. You can repair the retina, and then they use lasers to sort of repair them, put flaps down and get holes, but I don't think of retinal transplants.
With stem cells?
Well, stem cell, huge amount of research in stem cells, and a huge amount of research. So they're going to make so many breakthroughs in that within probably the next 10 years. Yeah, huge, well, not just with eyes, but of course with all sorts of things, but certainly there's going to be a lot. In fact, there's a lot written on research papers on stem cell, you can stop the short-sightedness for a start, and things like that. Yeah. So fingers crossed. It will come. It will come, I'm sure. You've got to read the research papers that they're almost there, but not quite there.
Need more money.
Well, yes, they're always on for money, particularly on the age macular degeneration as well, which affects so many people. But there are certain things they can do to help that, but obviously we can't get rid of it altogether. So it would be nice. The research will be millions spent on it, millions. Yeah. But it will happen. It will happen. One day.
I suppose one day there may be a cure blindness as one of the first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there'll be one day there'll be all sorts. Yeah. I don't think I'll hang around waiting for it though. There's so many things they need money for, isn't it? Not just eyes, cancer research and everything. No.
I think we need to.
Yeah, I was going to say we can go next speaker. You can say the question and answer.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome,
Mary, for coming along this afternoon. further education, I know that Specsavers plays a huge role, especially at the higher level, with level 3 in the HND course, and with the opportunities that the visual artists have within the media section of Specsavers. So we're very, very fortunate to have your base here in Guernsey and for the students to have the opportunities that they do have through Specsavers. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the college also for those opportunities that Specsavers brings to the college. So thank you very much for that. You're very welcome. Thank you for your talk and your beautiful profile. Absolutely stunning. It really is eye-watering. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Continuing the talk this afternoon, I would like to introduce Sasha Kazantseva-Miller. And Sasha took over Iron Moms 3 years ago. She's an astute businesswoman, and she's worked for Google and L'Oreal in the marketing department, being around, traveling around the world quite a lot from what I see. She has 3 children, and her passion is to drive a conscious change in business by empowering women and fostering a mindset of positive innovation. So I think we're going to hear some quite forward thinking from Sasha this afternoon. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Adelina. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you very much, Linky, for accepting our offer to sponsor this day so the public could attend the meeting for free. And hopefully you've seen the exhibition and her amazing project that Olympia has started, which hopefully will continue for many years to come with many things. So it's been very privileged to be part of the project and very inspiring as a journey for me personally and also for our business, one of my businesses, which is Iron Moms, which is very much, and why it was important for us to support today, International Women's Day, because it very much aligns with our mission to be a voice and a platform for women and especially moms in the community, and hopefully we will step into playing that role more and more. So I wanted to start with a quote from Moana movie. I don't know, has everyone seen Moana?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't you think it's the best Disney movie ever?
It's not like we're going to get talking.
Disney sucks in general.
I invite you to watch it again with a different lens, because I think I need to look at who wrote it, because it must have been written by some very deeply spiritual screenwriters and people, because the actual messaging within Moana is absolutely phenomenal. And I've just been picking up a few things, so this is more talk about Moana than anything else. So I would like to start with the beginning, which was, in the beginning there was only ocean, and so the mother island emerged. Her heart held the greatest power ever known. It could create life itself, and to fit a shape with the world. But in time, some began to see her heart and believe they can possess it, and they can own the greatest power of creation, which was life. And then we know the whole Maui story and all that stuff. And then she ends, the beginning scenes. She says, but one day, says Grandma Pella, the heart will be found by someone who will journey beyond the reef to restore the heart of the Fiti and save us all. Ooh, I get goosebumps reading this, because I believe this act of going beyond the reef, going beyond what we know in our comfort zones, going beyond what our society tells us is the right thing to do, whatever it is, going beyond that reef, to claim our own heart back, so we can save ourselves and the world is the most important act we have to do in our times. And in reclaiming our heart and our connection to our deeper wisdom and the source, we reclaim our authentic self, and that has been deeply buried by millennia of conditioning, patriarchal societies, and everything that we've gone through in the last, not just hundreds of years, this is thousands of years. This is especially important for women around the world who have been downgraded to the status of second-class citizens for thousands of years. And not only second-class citizens, they estimate that about 16 million women have been burned at the stake during witchcraft and Inquisition. We've been withdrawn access to basic human rights, access to our own inner knowledge, and the power of magic creations, which is creating life through childbirth. And archaeologists now are discovering kinds of highly civilized and harmonious societies, which were, a lot of them were around in the Mediterranean, Crete and Athens, which were about 4,000 years ago. And the one unifying foundation that they all share is worshipping feminine goddesses. So they find in statues and other symbols where the divine feminine has been worshipped and has been integrated in normal life. What does it mean to all of us? It's only been good, but we're on the world is awakening. This year is 100 years since women can vote. But still, I read that women earn less than 3% of global assets, especially driven in developing countries. Women are not, that they don't own the assets. And as I said, 16 million women, they say, have been exterminated through witch hunts. And if you look at the word witch, it comes from the term witch, wise. And traditionally, they were wise women, healers, women and men, who just were very connected to the deeper wisdom and nature, and could heal energies and could heal communities around their presence and their own being. And the terminology witch has been, demonized pretty much and presents a very negative light. And this is a story that hasn't been written by women. It's a story that has been written by men, and typically white men. This is not a talk against men. This is a talk that we need to start writing our own history. It's time to write our own history. But we are in uncharted waters, and women are leading the way in awakening to who they really are, and that is helping the world awake as well and co-create a different world. I just found an interesting quote by Glennon Doyle Melton. She's the author of the book Love Warrior, and she said, "I won't fight other women for one of the limited seats at the table. We'll march side by side and demand a bigger table." There's a lot of movement now to put women on the boards of companies and just put numbers of women. But this is not just the numbers of women in the existing corporate structures of the world. This is about us to conceive of the world, of different world we all want to live, because we are not happy with it, because we are not connecting with our authentic self. And Dalai Lama said recently that the world will be saved by Western women. Many of you are the Western women, and you and many of you here are the partners of women who are starting to connect to their deeper self. And we live in a social, family, and corporate systems that have been largely created and led by men. And again, this is not to say that bad men, this is not a man-bashing talk. This is just to showcase it's the unbalance that we've had in the world. It's like a one-pronged chair. It's not going to be stable. If we're not letting the feminine side of our world flourish, we are not going to create a harmonious system. And we're desperate for change because our systems keep us so far removed from our authentic selves. They tell us you should go to university, you should study this, you should get good marks, you should work in finance in Guernsey because that's the high-paying jobs. They tell you, they try to push you to make certain decisions, while deep in yourself you're crying for something else. And so I believe we're in a true authenticity crisis. So it was very interesting for Olympia to have chosen this topic, because it is such an important topic for our times. And babies are 100% authentic. They know they have all the wisdom they need in them to survive. And they cry when they need something, they want cuddles, they look at you lovingly, so it activates all sorts of wonderful hormones in you, so you love them forever. These little creatures have have all the wisdom, and they're fully connected to it. And sometimes we think they do something on purpose. They don't do anything just to, punish the parents. No, they're just connected to their inner self, of what they need to do in each moment to survive. And you know, we've lost that. So how do we develop this life path to our authentic self? Because this is not just one day waking up and finding who we are. I believe it's a continuous journey of every day cultivating and finding ways back to our inner wisdom. And so I'm sharing here a few ideas based on my own journey, which I believe was very much started when I moved to Guernsey, which coincided with me having my children. And before that, I was a very typical, career-oriented, ambitious woman, working for global chip companies, Google, L'Oreal, Priceline, traveled around the world, never thought there was any glass ceiling. And then I moved to Guernsey, following my husband, and we had children, and I just realized, oh my goodness, everything was now different. And so it's been 6 years of the journey, and I feel like I'm just starting. So I encourage you not to worry about if you haven't figured out your authentic self or what you want to do with your life, because we are all on that journey. So my number one point I would say is, how do you start connecting more with your body away from your brain? If you think, now you may be thinking, and you're thinking, you're here, right? We live here, and for so much of our lives, we just live here, right? And our brain is an amazing tool, and there's so much research has gone into brain psychology and all that stuff, and it's amazing. But it's just a part of our body, right? How much of our body is our brain? So one important part of our body is our gut. And the gut, for example, contains more nerve cells than the spinal cord. And it's directly connected to the brain through what's called the vagus nerve, which happens to be the longest nerve in our system. And the microbiome bacteria in our gut is influencing so much of our health. And what they're now researching, and again, this is groundbreaking research, that this axis of the gut and the brain and the microbiome are absolutely critical to understanding our mental health, our physical health, and all sorts of health and well-being issues that are coming up for us. And so you all know the same gut feeling, right? And because it comes from that, we know in our gut when something is wrong or something is right, or when we have to do something. We feel there's so much emotion and intelligence in this part of our body. This part of our body also manages the stress response, the fight and flight response, cortisol levels. It's kind of all stored in our body. And we just know, when you just know, right? You've had those moments when you just know. You don't need to come up with a complicated spreadsheet of a SWOT analysis, yes, pros and cons, and add some experts and God knows what, you just know, right? And then the next one is the heart. And the heart is actually, if you know a little bit of yoga, and yoga is an ancient system of healing the body and mind. I mean, it's thousands of years old. And it's fantastic to see yogic practices be emerging all around the world. And the heart is actually the center of our chakra systems. So typically there's different philosophies how many chakras there are, and chakras are energy concentrations in our body. And the heart chakra is the middle one, essentially. There's another chakra which is like I think it's called hara. And you know the Japanese saying harakiri? Harakiri, when the warriors
ritualistic suicide.
Yeah, they did it here because they thought that potentially your consciousness this is where the souls potentially were laid. In this part of our body, this is a white part, is extremely powerful. And for us to be able to try to connect down from our busy heads into our body, because our inner wisdom is, we all have it, okay? We all have it like the babies. We just get layered like onions with so much conditioning that we completely lose touch with our inner intuition. So listening to your heart and gut on a daily basis for small or big decisions, I think this is the most powerful tool any of you will have in guiding your future. So I mentioned about yoga, there's Tai Chi, there's meditation, mindfulness. They are all super ancient tools and techniques that can help you heal and learn and just become healthier and more connected to yourself on so many levels. And interestingly, yoga postures, asanas, are focused on activating both sides of your body equally. So the left, which represents the feminine, and the right, which represents the masculine. And I notice when I do yoga, I'm much better in my right positions, my masculine positions, which means I'm traditionally much stronger in my masculine energy rather than in my feminine. And so this is what I need to cultivate personally in my life, and that's probably what a lot of us and men need to be able to, the yin and yang, cultivate both sides of energies. But then, if you find all these things a bit too esoteric and new age, even though they're much older than anything you see in modern life, art, dance, singing, being in nature, all of these are ways to move, to connect with our body, with different energies. Second point is connecting with natural cycles. And the first one is your circadian rhythm, right? Your kind of like your daily rhythm. Are you more of an owl? Are you more of an early riser? And your genetics can actually tell you a little bit about that. I work with a company called Fitness Genes, which essentially helps you, takes your DNA saliva test and tells you all sorts of interesting things based on your DNA. For women, it's their monthly cycle because the woman's period is directly linked to the moon, which directly impacts also all sorts of natural cycles on our planet, from tides. Right? We have pretty much one of the biggest tidal ranges in the world. Those are all super major things that are affected by the moon, and the woman is magically connected to that cycle. Her cycle is exactly the same cycle as the moon. Guys, this is magic. You should think of it magic. And girls, instead of thinking, oh, here we go, it's really one of the most magical tools for us to connect to our internal energies. And in fact, in ancient times, there were in different traditions. When the girls started their period, it was a very big occasion, and I think the girls were kind of like really celebrated and initiated. I think the process is called menarche, and we know about menopause on the other side of it, but we don't celebrate that initiation into starting the period. And when the girls start the period, this is when they get I think it's actually magic, the power of being able to give birth to life, and have children. And linking to that, if you look at contraception, right? If you think about it, most contraceptive methods have been designed to control the woman, right? To control the girls. And a lot of them, probably the most popular, such as the pill and implants, they are designed to affect your hormones. Essentially, they wreck your natural cycle. And there has been now lots of studies, and please don't take anything I say today just for granted. Go and do your own research, but there's lots of studies indicating the negative effects the pill has had, and secondary all sorts of effects the pill has had on women, because it wrecks with your natural cycle and rhythm. Go do some research. Alcohol, again, it models up your, it's a drug, it models up your nature. Coffee as well. They're all basically drugs that we are taking in unregulated amounts on a daily basis, and we don't think it's having an effect on us. Cycle of the year, can talk more about that, but we are completely disconnected from the way food is produced and what's in season, what's not in season, and it is all going to have an effect on us. We need to, and I was writing specifically with women in mind for this story, we need to recognize our needs, desires, and dreams and prioritize them first. For women especially, moms, we've been used to putting ourselves always at the bottom of the list of priorities for as much as we remember. We need to stop that. We need to put ourselves first and really honor our desires. Other tools that are available, which you can look into, crystals, oils, herbs, massage, and all sorts of other stuff. And what's interesting, all these things are just energies. They're tools for you to use or not use, explore or not explore. But they are tools that have been used by people who are finding it fantastic, but it's a way for you to find what works for you. There's amazing amount of literature for you to start stepping into, and and it's all about, like, people are awakening that the world is changing, and we want to co-create a new world which is going to be unlike anything else we've done before. And so there's huge amounts of literature now emerging in this field. Connect to other women in circles, connect to men in circles. I'm not mental, I don't know what it feels for you guys. I have a little boy, and it's going to be fascinating to see how do I parent a little boy in this modern age where there's been so much done for the little girls, right? All the girls and daughters are growing up super empowered, and there's so much support, but like, how do we support you guys in this modern age? Because you've been victims of this unbalanced world as well. You've been victims of living in a highly patriarchal society where it's the strong man, like powerful man, it's the force, the energy that's being revered, kind of thing. And you're all victims of that, because actually you feel like maybe you don't fit into that mold. So my point of that is, do anything that will start helping you listen to your inner voice, and on a daily basis honor that. Okay, that's the most important thing that you have to do. And you might have some voices around you, you might have parents telling you, no, you should be doing this and that, and you've all been chosen already a path of, you've gone to the college, probably maybe considered an alternative nowadays than whatever the traditional academic path. Fantastic, you're listening to something that's driving you outside of more traditional system. Honor it on a daily basis. Find what works for you and commit to it. And the more you listen and act on what it is telling you, the more powerful it becomes, and the more you will naturally connect with what you're not here to do and connect with your gifts. I've had various instances of listening to my own intuition I wanted to share with you. In 2006, in my first job, I thought I wanted something a bit different, and I wanted to change jobs and maybe do an MBA. And I said, I need to do a big adventure. And I thought, very serendipitously, I found that I could join a charity group to climb Kilimanjaro, which I did. And I met my now husband on the mountain. So sometimes I laugh and tell my single friends that I had to climb, 20,000 feet to find the love of my life. We don't all have to do that, but in my case, it was a very prophetic dream to climb this mountain. Second point is, I'm still going to share this, even though there's lots of guys here in the crowd, is that I had elective cesarean with my first children, so I didn't go through the process of natural birth. I had twins, so I was scared. It's normal practice in medicine to encourage women to have elective cesarean with twins, because it's considered, it's dangerous. When I was pregnant with my third child, I really wanted to have a natural birth. And when labor started, oh my goodness, it was nothing like what I was imagining. And I did all the Anita Davis wonderful classes, and she's part of the portraits that Anita did, and I think you've been part of her pregnant women circles. The labor was nothing like I imagined, and at many points in time, it lasted over 30 hours. I told my husband, please, can you just call the doctors? I want a cesarean. I don't care anymore. Just tell me, find the doctors. By the end of it, I couldn't move. I was strapped to monitors. I was too tired anyway. I didn't care really, and I was just on kind of gas and air basically for like I don't know how many hours. But when it came to the end of it, when the midwife said you're 10 centimeters dilated, which is when you're supposed to push and give birth, I said, I had enough of this, okay? I just stood up, and with one push, I gave birth to my little boy. And because in my mind, I had this vision, that's how women birth their children before. They were like on their feet, on their four arms and legs, and that's how I thought I should give birth. And I just played my intuition in an instance, in that final 5 minutes of crazy experience, and I will never forget it. not in my husband alone, because the midwife practically had to like jump in to catch this baby coming out. But all those moments of birth, and death, this is all natural cycles of creation that you will experience in your life. You might have experienced siblings being born. You will become, some of you become parents. This is natural cycles of beautiful, amazing, natural cycles of creation. And most recently, I ran a vision boarding workshop when you do beautiful collages of pictures of what you might want to do. And in that vision board, a place came up, and I checked it out, and it was a yoga retreat in Goa. And I did this vision board over Christmas, and I thought, this place is really calling me. I need to go. And I arranged tickets straight away, and I went a couple of weeks ago. And it's been one of those awakening moments in my life, which has been really guiding my own journey to my own self-awareness and to what informing the kind of work I should be doing for the future to come. And this was just examples of when you listen to your intuition and you know that I knew or I know, but you have to act on it. You have to act on it. And when we embark on this road of listening to our inner wisdom, you are entering uncharted waters because we haven't lived in this world. Okay, we haven't lived in this world where we're embracing listening to this intuition. Feminine wisdom will create more peace, equality, compassion, consciousness, and care for the planet. It will just naturally come. All of the problems we're experiencing, there will be no Trump if there's more women. Okay. In business, in politics, anywhere. Okay, I promise, no Trump. But Trump is also a manifestation of all the dark things, all the dark, everything that's wrong that's happened in that planet. Okay, he just had to be there. It was his time to show to awake more and more women around the world that this is just unacceptable, and we're going to stand up to this bullshit and do something about it. And so our society's families and businesses are not used to women and men listening to their hearts, guts, and wants and acting upon it. And as Grandma Tala said again in Moana, to protect our people, the ancient chiefs forbid voyaging, and now we've forgotten who we are. Our societies have forbidden women to connect to who they are by burning them at the stake and not giving them a place at the table. And if we hear the call to embark on this journey of transformation, of uncovering all these layers of conditioning we've had in our lives, from parents, society, business, media, whatever it is, we enter a world of uncharted territories. And we see cracks everywhere in the systems we live in. We want more. We want different. We want different education. We want different families, different parenting. We want to be in the flow. Right? Maybe that's not familiar terms for you. You want to feel fulfilled. And when you hear the call to make a commitment to embark on this journey to connect to your intuition, it's not going to be easy. But that's what we have to do. You have no choice. If you want to wake up every day and be able to look into the mirror of an authentic you, and only you will know who is the authentic you. Grandma Tala said again, sometimes the world seems against you. The journey may leave a scar, but scars can heal and reveal who you are. You may hear a voice inside, and if that voice is a whisper, follow the 12 stars, Moana. That voice inside is who you are. The authentic self is the voice of who is inside you. You have to take 100% responsibility for your life. It's not someone's fault that something has happened, or that your parents, whatever, college, teacher. No, it's your 100% your responsibility to take responsibility of your life. And you have all the tools to know at each step in your life what to do. You have to just connect a bit more on a daily basis to your inner wisdom. One of the things I started doing after my Goa trip is to use oracle cards to help me see the messages that are coming through. And I pulled a card to try to read a message of what might come for you. And so I wanted to share a message that came in that card. It said, there is such wonder awaiting you, something arising within you out of the depths of your being. This is your time to play with that fertility, to conceive, create, and embark on the process of transformation with an open heart and mind. And for Moana, the call was the line between the sea and the sky may hold me, and to discover her true self, to connect back with her heart, and to help the world connect to theirs. So that's what she's doing by bringing the heart back to Kazantseva. So what is your call? What is your call today? Not in your life, but today. What is calling you? So what I would like to invite you to do now is just to take a little time and try to connect to that deeper self. Maybe take a breath so you can feel it, taking a breath deep into your body. And I would like you to take your time and write maybe in your head or you all have notepads, you have a few notes over there and share with you in front. I would like you to write the following 3 things down, and this is an invitation. You don't have to do it if you don't feel called or you don't feel that's like a good time to spend your time. Number 1, okay, what can you do today to honor what your intuition is asking you today? Something you write down, something you can commit to. It could be little things. It could be like, I really want to go for a walk on the beach with my friends or my girlfriends. You might have wanted to buy a guitar you've always wanted and you just weren't sure about. Little things. What can you do today to honor what your intuition is asking you? Number 2 is, what can you do this month? So we're in March, yeah? To honor your intuition. What is it calling you to do this month? And number 3 is, what can you honor and commit to do this year? So in 2018, to honor your deep call. What is calling you this year? What is deep in your heart that you know that has been knocking on your door and you've just been maybe ignoring it? Maybe your parents told you it's not a good idea. Maybe you think, how am I ever going to make money? I don't have the money. Whatever the brain has been trying to tell you. Take a bit of time. 1, what can you do today to honor your intuition? Number 2 is, what can you do this month? And you commit to doing that. And number 3 is, what are you going to do this year? And if anyone wants some notepads, you can share.
You might not last message.
Just last few moments, have a think again. Today, this month, and this year. What are the 3 things you can put on paper? And you have to put them down like with love. You commit to doing that. It's serious, guys. I'm telling you, this is nothing more important than connecting to this most powerful tool you all have. And you will always have. No matter what you go through, you will always have it, and you have it. It could be little things, as I said, or it could be big things. It could be like big things like breaking up with a boyfriend that's no longer serving you, changing jobs, moving countries. I'm not responsible for any breakage in marriages or relationships. Okay, it is honor your call, honor your intuition. And if you plan to drop the pill, you need to be aware of other contraceptive methods. So again, please be careful. So I guess on that last, listen to your intuition, listen to your authentic self. It's that voice that's inside you. Write it down, honor it every day for little things, because it's going to become the strongest tool in your life forever to come. Okay. So thank you very much. It's been lovely to be given a very mixed audience. I think when I was writing this talk, I had a mother or maybe a woman in mind. But I need to, in my own journey, I need to be able to stand strong to what's calling me, which is to be more open about all of the stuff I'm talking about. And this may seem completely like off the charts for many of you, and that's fine. But maybe it's given some of you some seeds of ideas or a call to arms, whatever it is, to just be strong and be confident with the gifts you have. So thank you very much.
That's a really important message for every single one of us, and it doesn't matter at what stage we are in our lives, is to learn to listen to your intuition. It's a really important message, and hopefully, if nothing else spoke to you today, this afternoon, I really urge for you to think about what Sasha's been talking about today. You might think some of it's a little bit esoteric, or it might not be something in your life that you've started to explore yet. But if there is one thing that you take away from today, is if you're going to be authentic with yourself, if you're going to be true to yourself, learn to listen to your inner voice, that really important inner voice. So that's a really, really important and profound life message to every single one of us today. And thank you, Sasha, for sharing. Thank you. I know that your coach is going to be here about 24, is that right? So we've got about 3/4 of an hour. And there are 3 areas that you can explore in the next 45 minutes. So there's the wildlife photography, if you've not seen that yet. There's the gallery exhibition of the portrait paintings. And then there's also the museum area.
They've got a few tasks to do as well within that, yes. So both level 1 and level 2 probably give a few things that they need to go to flat and look at. So yeah.
I'll be in the gallery area. And Joe,
I'll be floating around.
If you want to ask me personal questions, how do you come to the front? So I'll stay around here.
Live stream. What's the plan? Yes.